Hey, it's Kary Oberbrunner. I hope you are doing fantastic today. Just want to invite you to join me as I do a very special teaching today all about how to become a six-figure author. We are right now in the middle of a six-figure author 5-day challenge. I have never seen anything like it. If you are part of that six-figure 5-day author challenge, go ahead and type below, and I would love to hear about you. So we have Laura who's on. Welcome very much. We have Mark who's on. We have Denise. Yes, you guys are in the right spot. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to share this feed right now to my personal timeline. Erica is managing comments, and we are going to have an absolute blast for the next 30 minutes. I have with me questions that you guys have asked, and I will absolutely start going through these questions, and I will start answering them just because I like to. I like to add value to you guys. So go ahead and type where you're from. We have Davida. We have my good friend Daphne, fantastic. She says, let's rock and roll. So guys, if you can share this, that would be awesome. Go ahead, type in the word share when you do share, and I'm gonna share it right now to my timeline. And already start posting questions, because the people who are live get the first option. You guys get you guys are here live. You showed up, filled up. So I'm going to answer your questions first. But then if I don't get questions, I'll just start going through the list as well. So right now we got 40 people on. Thanks so much. And again, I'm going to share this on my timeline, my personal timeline as well. So I see a bunch of questions coming in. Go ahead, type where you're from as well. And let me type this super quick. Just the title, and then I'll get right into the questions. So we're calling this How to Become a Six-Figure Author. Okay, now listen, you might say, is this all hype? What's he talking about? I'm actually going to bring on 5 of my students who have become six-figure authors tonight. Okay, and this will not be a public. Thanks, Rick, by the way, for sharing that. Thanks, Heidi. Tonight's teaching will not be for the public. I am not going to bring this teaching tonight and blast it to the world. It's only for the six-figure author 5-day challenge group people, and that is free. And we started that group on Monday. And it started with 50 people and then got to be 100, then 300, then 700. We are now up to 1,300, and it is going nuts. I've never seen anything like it before. Erica, if you can post the link for that, because I don't want people to miss out, all right? So go ahead and post that link, Erica, as well. And now I'm going to get right into the questions at 8:30 p.m. tonight, by the way. So I'm going to start scrolling down and start answering questions. I see Jill all the way from UK. Thanks for sharing it, Jill. You're fantastic. She's one of our authors. John says, what is the quickest way to get recognition, which can lead to money? John, please explain what you mean a little bit more. What is the quickest way to get recognition, which can lead to money? If you're saying public recognition, I'm just going to go with my gut. My gut says that if you do a book well, that is the quickest way to recognition. Why? Don't ask me. Ask the English language. Let me tell you what I mean. When we know somebody who's an incredible expert, like Michael Jordan, even though I'm a LeBron James fan, go ahead, type if you like LeBron or Michael better, or if you don't even care, just put don't care. But here's the funny thing, right? Michael Jordan, I don't know if he ever wrote a book, but we say in the English language that Michael Jordan wrote the book for basketball. We even have in the English language the fact that writing the book is a perceived expertise. Now, I'm not talking about some create space pamphlet book that's 10 pages that you whipped out in a weekend, which I see people online saying, write your book in a weekend. Look, it's not going to be a good book, all right? I'm just being straight up. All right. And if you say, Kary, I'm super busy, I don't have time to write a book, there are ways around that I teach. You don't need to actually sit your butt in a seat and write the book. There are other options that I can teach you. But all I'm saying is I am not about my students producing crap. I'm just being straight up. I want my authors to produce something that is amazing, that actually becomes 18 streams of income that leads to a six-figure business. And if you say, well, who are these people? You're going to meet 5 of them over the next 5 nights, okay? And it's fantastic. They follow the model and it works. And if you're saying, well, has it worked for you? Absolutely. My book, Your Secret Name, that came out in 2010, I didn't know how to turn it into 18 streams of income, but it was this book, not the 3 books I wrote before, but it was this book that I experimented and I turned this book into 18 streams of income. Then I actually wrote The Deeper Path intentionally, now knowing the model, and that book became a 6-figure business. And then Day Job to Dream Job. These are all nonfiction, but hang on, fiction writers. If you're a fiction writer, go ahead, type in the word fiction. I did this with Day Job to Dream Job as well. But then I said, you know what? By the way, these 3 were traditionally published, and you might say, well, that's why they worked. No, they didn't. My first 3 were traditionally published, and they didn't work. So it has nothing to do with being traditionally published. What it does have to do with is the system and model that I teach. Here's my most recent book, Fiction, and we turned this book into a 6-figure business in the first 6 weeks, and this was not traditionally published. This was a book that I published through my company called Author Academy Elite. It's hardcover. It's beautiful, right? It has a dust jacket. It's fantastic. It's just like a book that you would pick up at Barnes & Noble, and you actually can. So that's another lie that people have out there. Well, it depends who your publisher is, whether you're going to be in Barnes & Noble or not. It actually has nothing to do with with who's your publisher. It has to do with your barcode. Okay. Now you might say, are you serious? Absolutely. I did this experiment the other day. I walked into a Barnes & Noble and said, hey, I didn't tell them I was the author. I said, hey, can you carry this book? And they didn't even look at the title. They scanned the barcode, and based upon the model that I teach, they said, absolutely, we can carry this. And it has to do with the barcode and what the barcode tells the brick and mortar bookstore. And I'm going to let you know on a little secret here. If you publish your book through CreateSpace only, you will never be in brick and mortar bookstores. Never. Do you know why? Because CreateSpace does not allow returns. And brick and mortar bookstores would go bankrupt if they could not return books that their people don't buy. This is why Barnes & Noble and every other brick and mortar bookstore only buy books that can be returned, and CreateSpace does not allow returns. So see, there's these little tips and tricks and tools that nobody really knows, but I've gone on a 15-year journey in my own career, and then people began asking me, how are you doing all this? And I began to teach people. And so now I've taught over 300 people personally. Like, I personally publish them. I've trained over 60,000 authors on my webinars and online teaching, and we have a great group today. But all I'm saying, folks, is that if you don't know these insider tips, tools, and tactics, it's kind of like you're going up to the batter's plate, right? And you're seeing all these people hit home runs, but then you're given this wiffle ball bat and told, well, go ahead, take a swing. You know, you published a book. Go ahead and try to get the same results that all the insiders have. You're always going to lose, and that's what I'm not okay with. So what I do is I basically equalize the playing field by teaching you all these things. And Eric, I want to ask you to share that link again, because this is a free 5-day group for the next 5 days that I'm taking everybody through 5 days of how to turn a book into a 6-figure business. I'll show you the process. I'll show you the 18 streams of income. And at the end, if you're like, fantastic, I love it, great, thanks, I'll see you later, Kary, no problem. I gave you tons of value and it was my pleasure. But if you say, I love it, I want more, that's fantastic too. I'll just keep giving you guys more and more value. So John, the quickest way is to write a good book with the system that I teach, because not only is that going to produce a fantastic and beautiful book, but it's also going to give you equal playing field with some of the biggest publishers in the world that, again, most people who just are off the street, they don't know these things. Let's go to our next caller. By the way, we got people from California. We have people from Syracuse. Welcome. Rick Copeland, one of my authors and clients. Fantastic. Good to see you. Mark. Will I record this tonight? Will I record tonight if you can't be on live? Maggie, great question. Maggie, absolutely. If you are part of the 5-day free six-figure author 5-day challenge, you're going to get everything. So yes, I will leave that recording up, but you got to be in the group to get that. Because listen, some of my authors tonight, they were a little, let's be honest, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. They say, Kary, I don't brand myself as a six-figure author. I don't want to appear, like I'm what's the word? Ego-driven or something. They're like, I don't brand myself as a six-figure author. And I said, I know, you guys are reaching the world, you're impacting thousands. But I said, you know what? The world needs to meet you too. Because I said that I know you're more passionate about the influence and the impact. But each one of these authors that you're going to meet over the next 5 days in these private master classes at night, I'll do these public ones for the next 5 days in the morning. So if you're like, well, I don't trust this guy, I don't want to join his free group. Okay, fine, whatever. But I'll do these morning ones free the next 5 days. And but in the private group that is also free, I'm going to be sharing in the evenings these 5 authors, and you'll get to learn about their business. You'll get to learn about what streams of income they used from my 18 streams of impact model that I teach. But you're going to love them, absolutely love them. And they are black, they are white, they are male, they are female, they are old, they are young, they are educated, they are not educated. In other words, like the professional degrees, and then, just your normal people, right? I mean, these people are just like you. They're not superstars, but they had a dream and they had a desire and they said yes and they kept following my teaching. And today, they're doing some really awesome things. So let's go to our next question, folks. If you don't give me any, I'm gonna just read the ones that I already have from the group. What do you do when you run into writer's block? Here's the problem, Jeff. Thanks for asking that question. Writer's block is truly a myth. Now you might be like, what are you talking about, Kary? Look, I knew this book was tough to write. It was very tough to write. I have a master's degree and a doctorate, and I've written 6 other traditionally published books. This was the hardest book I ever wrote. It took me 2 years, right? Why? Because I had to study good fiction. I had to study. Now, these books I whipped out really quick, right? Because I know it. I own it. It's my story that I weave into a way that impacts people. Never write a memoir if you're not someone who's a celebrity. Now you might say, that's really rude. Why would you say that, Kary? Well, I'll tell you what. Nobody's saying, I wonder what a bald guy with a girl's name, I want to know about his life and about his story. No, they don't say that. They say, Kary, I'm stuck. I want to turn my passion into a full-time gig. Oh, a book day job to dream job. Notice I didn't call it Kary's day job to dream job because people don't care. People are worried about their pain and their problems. Now, in the book, there's a ton of stuff about my story, but I didn't brand it that way. And that's one of the tips, tricks, and tools that I teach my authors. All my books, all my nonfiction books contain a little bit of my story, right? This book talks about how I was a self-injurer back in the day and I struggled with stuttering. And it talks about, but it's not called Kary's secret name, one man's journey to whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, it talks about discovering who God created you to be. It's about the reader. It's not about me. Okay. So your book is not about you, even though you think it's about you. Maybe it's not about you. It's about how you can help your reader solve a problem. That's what a nonfiction book is. But back to Jeff's question about writer's block. Writer's block happens when you don't have a good proposal. Okay. Look, just hang with me for a second. There's people building buildings across the street. Nobody showed up with tools and said, you know what? We should build a building here. I mean, we should build a building here, but I kind of have builder's block. I have builder's block because I don't know where I should put the foundation. I don't know where I should dig the trenches. I don't know. I have builder's block. Now, I'm being silly, but I'm saying this for a reason, and I actually like this analogy. I'm going to use it forever now. It just came to me. Thank you, God, right? But here's the point. The only reason you have writer's block is because you show up and say, I was told I should write a book, or I think I should write a book, and you go to write on a blank screen, then you struggle. Because what does a builder do? A builder has a blueprint. A builder has a blueprint that tells him or her exactly where they're going to put the kitchen, where they're going to put the stairs, where they're going to put the offices. They have everything laid out in this blueprint. So they never have to sit there and say, I got builder's block. What should I do? It's the same thing with writers. What you do, Jeff, is you follow a template that I have, which is, it's called a book proposal. And you can look online for book proposals. I have a really cool system that I've kind of modified over the years. And over 300 authors have used this system. And it basically takes the content out of you so that you're not staring at a screen. A good book proposal, what you do is you go online. You don't go online. What you do is you look at your proposal and you say, oh, of course. My book, by the way, let me give you an analogy. Day Job to Dream Job. Part of my proposal was breaking down the outline, which it is prison, your day job, plan, and payoff. So it's prison, plan, and payoff. That's called an outline or an overview. Then underneath each of those sections, you create chapter titles. Then under the chapter titles, you create 2-sentence descriptions. This is just, I'm breaking down a small portion of a proposal. It also includes your target audience. It also includes competitive books in your market and why your book is similar and why it's different. But Jeff, once you have a killer proposal, you don't ever have writer's block. Why? Because nonfiction writing is telling a story and making a point, and making a point and telling a story. And literally in your proposal, you will have that all mapped out so that you can just rock and roll with your book. Great question. Who do we have next? Anybody else? Jump in with your questions. How do you narrow down all the ideas into one tangible piece of content? Is this Pam Pippin? Is this my friend from North Carolina? I believe I still have the mug. When I went to your town and I spoke to all the schools and the businesses, thanks for inviting me years and years and years ago. How do you narrow down all your ideas into one tangible piece of content? Here's what you do. Every book that's sold in New York traditional publishing outfits, that book is broken down into one sentence. Literally, it is. So think of an iceberg, Pam. Okay, you have an iceberg and you see just the tip, but you know underneath the tip is a whole mess of things. By the way, if you're finding value, the number one way you can show me that is just share this post. I love to add value to people. If you're finding this even remotely helpful, go ahead and share it. And what we do is Erica is going to go and give you a gift for everybody who's shared. So after you share, type in share, and she'll give you a gift at the end. I'll tell you what it is. It's pretty cool. But here's the point, Pam. It's an iceberg. And an iceberg means that this book is broken down into one sentence, right? By the way, titles hook, subtitles explain the benefit. Titles hook, for example, Malcolm Gladwell, the book called Blink. You know that, right? That's catchy, Blink. And then what is the subtitle? The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. That sounds incredibly, I'm going to look here. I was looking over here. I'm going to look here. It sounds incredibly catchy. I love it, right? But here's the point, Pam. and we're only going to go 9 more minutes, folks, and then I'm jumping. But so get your question if you need it. But Pam, what you do is you break your book down in your whole book into one sentence. This is what you do before you even write your book. You need to get clear on what your book is. So for this, for example, this book is one sentence: how to go pro with your passion. That's it. How to go pro with your passion. And if you really want to get specific, practical steps for turning your passion into a full-time gig. That's it. Most of the time, your book, the subtitle explains the one idea. And Pam, when you first start, you don't even have a clue. I don't have a clue. It's not like I sit down and a book comes down from heaven, right? What happens, Pam, is I do the proposal process. And I'm telling you, folks, if you've never done the system that I teach, it yanks it out of you. All these random scattered ideas, it yanks it out of you and it puts it into one document. And then from there, you create the book. Great question. All right. What do you mean when you say 18 streams of income? Yes, Juanita, exactly. 18 different ways that your book can be leveraged into income earning activities. These could be products. These could be services. Some of you are on this call. You know exactly the streams of income that I teach. And by the way, I have a gift for you guys at the end, so you're going to be happy, okay? Laura says she's fiction. Fantastic. A lot of you are fiction. Ooh, okay. Cheri says, I loved Elixir Project. Fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad. We got Chicago in the house. Don't forget this, folks. Seriously, before you go today, if you find this even remotely helpful, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole bunch underneath, including a Facebook group that's just devoted for the authors that I invest in during this 5-day event. Fantastic. Let's get to some other questions. Laura says, the fiction book Elixir Project is what finally pulled me to sit under Kary's teachings and learn about being an entrepreneur, and I have never regretted it. Thank you, Laura. She's doing fantastic. She just got done with a book tour herself. So she's one of my students. Awesome. Do you think releasing a book as an ebook is a viable option in today's market? I'm so glad you asked this question, Aaron. Here's why. It depends what your career strategy is. Let me tell you what I mean. You've never heard a speaker close his or her speech by saying, thanks for coming, folks. I will be in the back signing autographs for your ebook. Okay? Now, why do I smile when I say that? Because even though we live in a digital world, there is a perceived value between an ebook that can be deleted. How many ebooks do you have on your computer or your smartphone or PDFs that you've never read? Good question, right? But when you have a physical book, it's a big difference. Not only that, but when you have a physical book that's a soft cover versus a hardcover, that's even a perceived value. And I'll teach more about that in the 5-day challenge. There's certain places that won't even hire you, all things being equal. If you're a speaker and one of you has a book and one of you doesn't, trust me, one of my authors told me that she's a fantastic speaker. She purposely did not get booked at certain places because the people planning the event prior to her getting published said, well, there's other people who have applied to speak on this topic and they're authors. And so we're going to pick them. Now, I'll tell you who this person is, Amy Schmidauer. Look her up. She's a YouTube star. Tony Robbins just called her the other day, one of my authors, and her book is called Vlog Like a Boss. V-L-O-G, Vlog Like a Boss. Go to Amazon, just type in the word vlog. She owns the category. But she's one of my authors. Tony Robbins, says, hey, Amy, can you come and teach my business mastery class? How to vlog. Guess how he found her, right? Through books. She's in Inc. magazine through books. Folks, your book isn't a business card. Your book is a business. That's the big difference between me and a lot of other people. A lot of people say, oh, your book's just it's a good business card. Well, Let me ask you, what do you do when you go to networking events or conferences with all the business cards you collect? You probably throw them in the trash. If you have the mindset that your book is a business card, you've automatically failed. If you think your book is just an ebook, you've automatically failed. Why? Because I teach you how to turn a book into 18 streams of income, right? And again, you're all going to get something here at the end just because I care about you, all right? So thanks for sharing. A lot of people shared. Hang with me. You're going to get it. So we have 3 minutes left. We have people all the way in from the Caribbean. Rick, what is the link? Here it is. I'll tell it to you, but I think Erica shared it below. It's just my name, KaryOberbrunner.com / 5-day challenge. KaryOberbrunner.com / 5-day challenge. Jeff Brown says, Kary makes a great podcast guest. This is one of the models that I teach. By the way, Jeff, fantastic podcast. Jeff Brown has had over 2 million downloads for his podcast. It's called Read to Lead. I've been a guest on it several times. I've been a guest on Entrepreneur on Fire, John Lee Dumas, the top winner of the iTunes Award, right? 3 different times. Why? Books. A book done the way that I teach gets you into places that you could never get otherwise. It literally opens doors when you do it the right way. So many people do not do it the right way, and they think the book is the problem. No, the book is not the problem. It's the way that you approach the book and the way that you wrote, published, and marketed it. I mean, folks, I have a fiction book that has back ads in it. You might say, what is a back ad? A book with back ads, right? This is all intentional. This is just one little small strategy, but it leads them to a free training. Let's see, how do we get here? There we go. A free training, right? It says you've read the book. Now, are you ready for the experience? And it leads them into a free training that then leads them into a $500 course. And we've had over 100 people join on launch day. That's $50,000 right there, right? I think so. I'm not good at math. I think it is. And then we also created an event around a fiction book, literally. And again, another $50,000 from that event. Here's my heart, guys. To me, it's not about the money for you. It's not. To me, it's about the freedom. Why? Because my first 3 books stunk. All right. I can say that. The content was good. The marketing and the plan behind it stunk because I didn't understand these things. And that's why I kept my day job. And you know what? I loved being a pastor in my day job. I loved serving people. But guess what? Knock, 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 right? God kept tapping at the door of my heart saying, I want you to reach more people. I want you to go. And he's doing that for you today. This is your knock, okay? Even if you're like, I don't even believe in God. That's cool. He believes in you, all right? Whether you believe in him or not. But here's the point. God's knocking at the door of your heart. You didn't find this by accident. But you have to learn how to turn your book into a full-time gig. Why? Otherwise, it's always going to be a hobby. You're going to say, well, I have to do my regular job for 50 hours a week. And then I get to write, for 45 minutes on a Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m. You're never going to be able to reach people and get your message out there if you're doing this the slow way. I did it for 8 years. Okay. I wrote 4 books in 8 years and they didn't do much. I did a few little speaking things, but once I learned this strategy and system, then shortly after, I invested my whole time into my passion. And that's when my influence and impact began to explode because the income brought freedom. That's why I want you to become a 6-figure author, because of the freedom that comes from doing it the right way. We're out of time. I promised you 12. We're a minute over. Folks, let's give you guys the gift. Erica, if you can put the gift in there. This gift is a free ebook that I just finished. You might say, you just told us that ebooks don't really do well. You know why? Because I'm giving it to you. Okay. I have 7 other books that are actually my system, but I use an ebook as a means of communication that's cheap and free. So it took me a ton of time to create this in 15 years of my life to figure out this system, but I want to give you the beginning start of this system that also then includes a free webinar. The webinar is next Wednesday, August 23rd. So folks, let me just tell you what you're going to get just for free, just for being here today. Number 1, you're going to get the free 6-figure author 5-day challenge. I'm going to do 10 of these shows for free, okay? Plus a 5-day challenge, plus a free Facebook group where you're going to be connected with people all over the world who care about you and are with you on the journey. Number 1, you're going to get that. Number 2, you're going to get this free ebook called Turn Your Book into a 6-Figure Business. It shares 18 streams of income that I've derived from each one of my last 4 books. Number 3, you're going to get my stellar live webinar. This is not a recorded webinar. This is a live webinar next Wednesday that I'm going to show up filled up, and I'm going to give you guys my heart, and I'm going to say, you know what? Here's my 15 years of publishing experience, and I'm going to pull back the curtain on the traditional publishing world, on the self-publishing world. I'm going to show you who's making the money and who's not. And I'm going to show you the one way that I think can change everything. This is the one thing that I did that changed everything and helped me go pro with my writing. So you're going to get all that free. Erica, if you can share the link below. If you found this, Mark says, all that and a bag of chips. There you go. Yes, that is true. So there's a lot of people excited for the evening podcast tonight. Awesome. Laura's excited to hear from the authors. So folks, I'll see you tonight, but only if you're part of the 5-day challenge. I had a blast today, and thanks so much. And don't forget, you are not someone who was created by mistake. You are someone created with a purpose by a designer who's implanted in you a message. You might not even fully know what that message is. I certainly don't when I have a book idea. But you can either say yes to it or you can run in fear. You can either live a life of freedom and fulfillment or a life of fear. The choice is up to you.